That's deeply unsettling, and I can't imagine how shaken you must be. Let's approach this logically while acknowledging the emotional weight. Here are some steps and considerations to help you navigate this. Verify the source. Check the phone number's activity using reverse lookup tools like Truecaller or Been Verified. Numbers can be spoofed, and scammers often use old or familiar numbers to manipulate. If the calls are consistent, record them, with legal consent in your area, to analyze the voice or share with authorities if needed. Note the exact times and dates of the calls. Patterns might reveal if this is a targeted prank or something else. Protect yourself from manipulation. The caller knowing personal details could suggest someone close to you or with access to old records, e.g., family, friends, or even hacked data from social media. Scammers sometimes mine public posts or obituaries for intimate details. If the caller is hinting at guilt or danger, they might be trying to destabilize you emotionally. Avoid sharing personal information or engaging deeply until you're certain of their identity. Reconcile memories. Traumatic events like a house fire can fragment memories, especially from childhood. The discrepancies you're hearing might stem from your own suppressed or altered recollections. Consider writing down everything you remember about the fire, then cross-reference it with official reports, e.g., fire department or coroner's records. If safe, talk to family members or others who were around at the time to clarify details without leading them to the caller's claims. Practical safety. If the calls feel threatening, contact your local police to report harassment. Provide them with any recordings or call logs. Block the number. Those spoofed numbers can change. Consider using call screening apps or changing your number if the harassment escalates. Secure your online presence, change passwords, limit public social media posts, and check for data breaches, e.g. via Have I Been Pubuned? Emotional support. This is resurfacing a painful loss, so consider speaking with a therapist or grief counselor. They can help you process the trauma and the confusion caused by these calls. If you're open to it, a trusted friend or family member could listen to the calls with you for perspective and support. Alternative explanations. While paranormal possibilities might come to mind, focus on ruling out human causes first. Voice cloning tech, using old recordings, or deepfake audio could mimic your brother's voice if someone had access to past voicemails or videos. If you suspect something beyond the explainable, document everything meticulously, dates, times, exact words, to look for inconsistencies that might point to a prank or scam. Next steps. Start by verifying the number and securing your phone. Write down the caller's specific claims about the fire and compare them to your memories or records. Reach out to a trusted person or professional for support. The calls kept coming, every night at 2:17 a.m., the exact time the fire department had logged the first 911 callback in 2004. The phone would hum softly, the screen glowing with that old number, my brother Caleb's number, dead and disconnected for over 2 decades. I'd stopped answering after the third night, letting it go to voicemail, but the messages piled up, each one a knife twisting deeper. His voice. God, it was his voice, crisp and boyish, with that slight drawl he'd picked up from summers at our uncle's farm. But the things he said, they weren't right. Ellie, the latest message began, his tone soft but urgent. You weren't supposed to walk out of that house. You know that, don't you? Someone made sure you did. Check the basement. You'll see. I hadn't been back to that house since the fire. It was a blackened skeleton by the time the flames were doused, and Mom sold the lot to a developer who bulldozed it for condos. The basement? I barely remembered it. A damp, cluttered space where Caleb and I used to play hide-and-seek, stacking old paint cans into forts. But his words gnawed at me. Someone made sure you did. What did that mean? I tried the practical steps first. I ran the number through Truecaller and white pages. Nothing. Unregistered, likely spoofed, the app said. I called my phone carrier, who confirmed no record of the incoming calls existed on their end, which was impossible. I even dug through old family photos, looking for clues, but all I found was Caleb's grin, frozen at 12 years old, staring back at me from a Polaroid taken weeks before the fire. I couldn't sleep. The messages played on loop in my head, and the discrepancies he mentioned, details about the fire, started to unravel me. He'd said the fire started in the kitchen, not the attic where the official report placed it. He mentioned a locked door I'd supposedly escaped through, but I remembered it being open, the smoke choking me as I stumbled out. And the worst part, he kept saying I was the one who wasn't meant to all. Meant to survive, like it was a mistake I'd made it out while he burned. Last night, I caved. I answered. Caleb? My voice shook, barely a whisper. Ellie, he said, and I swear I heard him smile. You're finally listening? Go to the lot, tonight. There's something you need to see. Caleb, you're gone. You died. Who is this? I was crying now, my hands trembling so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Check the basement, he repeated, slower this time. You'll know when you see it. The line went dead. I didn't want to go. Every rational part of me screamed to block the number, call the cops, move across the country. But at 1 a.m., I was in my car, driving to the old address. The condos loomed now, sterile and modern, but the lot was still there, a patch of overgrown grass and rubble the developers hadn't touched. I parked and stared at the spot where our house once stood. No basement access anymore, just a flat, weedy expanse. But as I stepped out, my flashlight caught something glinting in the dirt. I knelt, heart pounding, and brushed away the soil. It was a key, small and rusted, the kind that might have fit a padlock. I didn't remember any locked doors from that night, but Caleb's words echoed, someone made sure you did. My hands shook as I pocketed the key, scanning the lot for anything else. That's when I saw it, a faint outline in the ground, barely visible under the moonlight. A trapdoor, cemented shut, right where the basement would have been. I haven't opened it yet. I'm back home now, the key burning a hole in my pocket, and the phone silent for the first time in days. But I know it'll ring again at 2:17. I need to decide what to do before it does. The phone rang at 2:17 a.m., right on cue. I stared at it, the key clenched in my fist, its edges biting into my palm. I didn't want to answer, but my hand moved anyway like it wasn't mine. I hit accept and held my breath. Ellie, Caleb's voice crackled through, softer now, almost pleading. You found it, didn't you? The key. You're so close. Open the trapdoor. You need to know. Know what? I snapped, my voice louder than I meant. Caleb, if it's you, why are you doing this? Why now? And if you're not him, who the hell are you? There was a pause, long enough that I thought the call dropped. Then he spoke, and it was like he was standing right behind me, his breath cold on my neck. You're not the only one who got out, Ellie, but you're the only one who forgot. The line cut off. I threw the phone across the room, my heart hammering so hard I thought it had burst. Forgot? I remembered the fire, waking up to smoke, the heat, Mom screaming my name as stumbled through the hall. I remembered the firefighters pulling me out, the paramedics wrapping me in a blanket. I remembered the hospital, the news about Caleb, the way Mom's face crumpled. But the basement, the trap door, that was a blank, a black hole in my memory. I couldn't sit still. By 3 a.m., I was back at the lot, flashlight in one hand, a crowbar from my trunk in the other. The condos were dark, their windows like empty eyes. The trap door was still there, its cement seal cracked and uneven, like someone had tried to open it before. The key felt heavier now, useless against the concrete, but I clutched it anyway, like it could anchor me. I wedged the crowbar into a crack and leaned into it. The cement groaned, then gave way with a dull crack, revealing a rusted metal hatch. My hands shook as I pried it open, the hinges screaming from years of disuse. A damp, moldy smell hit me, and my flashlight beam caught a narrow set of stairs descending into darkness. I hesitated, Caleb's voice echoing in my head. You're the only one who forgot. I went down. The basement was smaller than I remembered, its walls scorched and crumbling, remnants of the fire that had gutted our home. My beam swept over broken furniture, a charred toy box, and stacks of mildewed boxes. Then I saw it, a metal cabinet in the corner, padlocked shut. The key in my hand suddenly made sense. My stomach twisted as I approached, the air growing colder with each step. The lock clicked open with ease. Too easy. Like it had been waiting for me. Inside was a single item, a small fire-damaged notebook, its pages brittle and yellowed. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Caleb's, all looping letters and smudged ink. It was his old journal, the one he'd scribble in when he thought no one was watching. I flipped it open, my hands trembling. The last entry was dated the night of the fire. Ellie doesn't know. She wasn't supposed to be here tonight. I heard them talking in the basement. They locked the door. I can't let her stay. My knees buckled. Them? Who was he talking about? I kept reading, skimming fragments of pages that hadn't burned. Words jumped out. Plan, insurance, accident. One line made my blood run cold. Mom said it has to look real, but Ellie's not part of it. Dropped the notebook, my breath coming in shallow gasps. Mom? No, that couldn't be right. She'd been devastated after the fire, barely functional for years. But Caleb's words, his voice on the phone, the key, the trap door, it was all too much. My flashlight flickered, and for a second I swore I saw him in the corner, his silhouette small and hunched, watching me. The phone in my pocket buzzed. I yanked it out, hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. The screen showed Caleb's number again, but this time, the voicemail icon blinked. I hadn't even heard it ring. I played the message, my heart in my throat. "Ellie," he whispered, his voice fading like a bad signal. "You see it now, don't you? They didn't want you to know, but you're not safe. Not yet. Find her. Ask her why." The message ended. The basement was silent except for my ragged breathing. I grabbed the notebook and scrambled up the stairs, the trapdoor slamming shut behind me. Back in my car, I locked the doors and sat there, staring at the notebook in my lap. Mom was still alive, living in a care home an hour away. I hadn't seen her in months, not since her memory started slipping. But now I had to. I needed answers. The sky was lightening as I drove home, the first streaks of dawn cutting through the dark. The phone stayed silent, but I knew it wouldn't last. Caleb, or whatever was using his voice, wasn't done with me yet. Drove straight to the care home, the notebook on the passenger seat like a ticking bomb. My hands gripped the wheels so tight my knuckles ached, and every few minutes I glanced at my phone, expecting it to light up with Caleb's number. It stayed dark, but that didn't ease the knot in my chest. The journal's words burned in my mind. Mom said it has to look real, but Ellie's not part of it. What wasn't I part of? And who were they? The care home was a squat, beige building surrounded by manicured lawns that felt too cheerful for what I was carrying. I signed in at the front desk, my signature shaky, and a nurse led me to Mom's room. She was sitting by the window, her hair thin and white, staring at a bird feeder outside. She looked smaller than I remembered, like the years had hollowed her out. "Mom," I said, my voice catching. She turned, her eyes cloudy but sharpening when she saw me. "Ellie? Oh, honey, it's been so long." Her smile was warm, but it faltered when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" I sat across from her, the notebook in my lap, unsure where to start. "Mom, I need to ask you about the fire. The night Caleb died." Her face twitched, just for a second, but she covered it with a sigh. "Oh, Ellie, why dig up old pain? It was an accident. Faulty wiring in the attic, they said." That's not what I found. I opened the notebook, my hands trembling, and read Caleb's last entry aloud. Her expression didn't change, but her fingers tightened on the arms of her chair. "What does this mean, Mom? What was the plan? Who was in the basement?" She stared at me, her mouth working silently, like she was trying to find the right words. "Ellie, you're upset. You're not making sense. Caleb's gone, and that fire, it was a tragedy. You know that. Stop lying." I didn't mean to yell, but the words burst out. The nurse poked her head in, but I waved her off. "Caleb's been calling me, Mom, every night. He led me to this." I held up the notebook. "He said I wasn't supposed to survive. What did you do?" Her face crumpled, and for a moment I thought she'd cry. But then she leaned forward, her voice low and steady, not the frail woman I'd expected. "You don't know what you're talking about, Ellie. You were a child. You didn't see what I saw." "Then tell me," I said, my voice breaking. "Tell me why Caleb's journal says you planned something. Tell me why he's calling me now." She looked away, her jaw tight, and for a long moment, I thought she wouldn't answer. Then she spoke, so quietly I had to lean in. "Your father, he wasn't a good man. You don't remember him, do you? Always gone, always angry when he was home. He had debts, Ellie, bad ones, the kind you don't walk away from. He thought the insurance money would fix it. The house, the policy. It was all set up." My stomach dropped. "Set up? You mean the fire was on purpose?" She didn't nod, but her silence was answer enough. "I didn't know Caleb was home that night," she whispered. "He was supposed to be at a friend's. You both were. But you came back early and I tried to get you out. I did." I felt sick, the room spinning. "You knew? You let Dad burn our house down and Caleb died because of it? It wasn't supposed to happen like that." Her voice cracked, and she grabbed my hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "I locked the basement door to keep you kids out of it. Your father had things down there, gasoline, papers. I didn't want you near it. But Caleb, he must have heard us arguing. He was always so curious, always sneaking around." I yanked my hand back, the key in my pocket digging into my thigh. "What was in the basement, Mom? What did Caleb want me to find?" Her eyes darted to the notebook, then back to me. "You went down there, didn't you? What did you see? Answer me." I stood, my chair scraping the floor. "What was it?" She shook her head, tears spilling now. "Ellie, let it go. You don't want to know. You're alive. That's what matters." I wanted to scream, to shake her until she told me everything. But my phone buzzed in my pocket, cutting through the haze. I pulled it out, my heart stopping at the screen. Caleb's number. I hit accept, my eyes locked on Mom's. "Ellie, His voice came through, calm but insistent. "She's not telling you everything. Look at the back of the notebook. Then come back to the basement. Tonight." The call ended. Mom was staring at me, her face pale. "Who was that?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. I didn't answer. I flipped to the back of the notebook, my fingers fumbling. Tucked into the inside cover was a folded piece of paper I hadn't noticed before. A child's drawing, Caleb's messy scrawl across it. It showed our house, flames scribbled in red crayon, and 2 stick figures in the basement. One was labeled Dad. The other, smaller, was labeled Mr. K. dot above them in shaky letters. They started it. "Who's Mr. K?" I asked, holding the drawing up. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, and she shook her head violently. "No, no, no, you can't. Ellie, please don't go back there." I was already moving, grabbing the notebook and the drawing, my mind racing. Whoever Mr. K was, he was tied to the fire, to Dad, to Caleb's death, and the basement was the key. As I left the care home, Mom's voice followed me, desperate and thin. "Ellie, he's not your brother. Don't listen to him." I drove back to the lot, the sky darkening with storm clouds. The trapdoor waited, and this time, I wasn't alone. I could feel Caleb, or whatever was using his voice, watching. The storm broke as I reached the lot, rain hammering the windshield, blurring the outline of the trapdoor. The notebook and Caleb's drawing sat on the passenger seat, the stick figures of Dad and Mr. K staring up at me through the red crayon flames. Mom's warning echoed, "He's not your brother." But I was too far gone to turn back. The key in my pocket, the journal, the calls, it all pointed here, to the basement. I had to know. I grabbed a flashlight and the crowbar, stepping into the downpour. The trapdoor was slick, its rusted hinges groaning as I pried it open. The same damp, charred smell hit me, heavier now like the air itself was rotting. My flashlight beam wobbled as I descended, the stairs creaking under my weight. The basement was just as I'd left it. Scorched walls, broken furniture, the metal cabinet gaping open. But something felt different, like the shadows were thicker, watching. "Caleb?" I whispered, my voice swallowed by the dark. No answer, just the drip of rainwater leaking through the trapdoor. I clutched the drawing, scanning the room for anything I'd missed. Caleb's journal had led me to the cabinet, but the drawing pointed to something else. They started it. Dad and Mr. K in the basement. I moved to the far wall where the toy box lay shattered and started pushing debris aside. My fingers grazed something cold and hard, a loose brick. I wedged the crowbar in and pulled, the wall crumbling to reveal a small hidden alcove. Inside was a metal box, dented and rusted, with a padlock that matched the key. My hands shook as I unlocked it, the lid screeching open. There were papers, yellow documents, receipts for gasoline, a life insurance policy with Mom's signature. And beneath them, a photograph. Dad, younger, standing next to a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, gaunt, with eyes that seemed to burn through the picture. On the back, in Dad's handwriting, Kellen, 2003, Mr. K. Kellen. My breath caught. I didn't know him, but the name felt like a splinter in my mind. I rifled through the papers again, finding a handwritten note in Dad's scrawl. "Kellen says it's foolproof. Fire wipes the debts clean. Just make sure the kids are out." My stomach churned. Dad had planned it, with this man, Kellen. But Caleb wasn't out, and neither was I. The air shifted, colder now, and my flashlight flickered. I turned, heart pounding, and saw him, or it, in the corner. A shape, small and hunched, just like Caleb's silhouette. But it wasn't right. The edges were blurry, like smoke, and its eyes glinted in the dark, too bright, too wrong. "Ellie," it said in Caleb's voice, but slower, dragging. "You found it! You know now!" "Who are you?" I backed against the wall, the box clutched to my chest. "Are you Caleb? Or Kellen?" It stepped closer, and I saw its face. Caleb's, but not. His features twisted, like wax melting, and for a second I glimpsed that gaunt man from the photo, his smile sharp and cruel. "Caleb's gone," it said, voice splitting, 2 tones layered. "But he left you a gift, me. I've been waiting, Ellie. You weren't supposed to walk out." I bolted. Mr. K. Kellen. My breath caught. I didn't know him, but the name felt like a splinter in my mind. I rifled through the papers again, finding a handwritten note in Dad's scrawl. "Kellen says it's foolproof. Fire wipes the debts clean. Just make sure the kids are out." My stomach churned. Dad had planned it, with this man Kellen, but Caleb wasn't out, and neither was I. The air shifted, colder now, and my flashlight flickered. I turned, heart pounding, and saw him, or it, in the corner. A shape, small and hunched, just like Caleb's silhouette. But it wasn't right. The edges were blurry, like smoke, and its eyes glinted in the dark. Too bright, too wrong. "Ellie," it said, in Caleb's voice, but slower, dragging. You found it. You know now. Who are you? I backed against the wall, the box clutched to my chest. Are you Caleb? Or Kellen? It stepped closer, and I saw its face, Caleb's, but not. His features twisted like wax melting, and for a second I glimpsed that gaunt man from the photo, his smile sharp and cruel. Caleb's gone, it said, voice splitting, two tones layered. But he left you a gift. Me. I've been waiting, Ellie. You weren't supposed to walk out. I bolted for the stairs, but the trapdoor slammed shut above me, the sound like a gunshot. The thing laughed, a wet, gurgling sound. Ask your mother about Kellen. Ask why she kept his name quiet. Ask why she visits his grave. I swung the crowbar, wild, desperate, but it passed through the shape like smoke. My flashlight died, plunging the basement into black. I fumbled for my phone, its screen casting a weak glow. The thing was closer now, its face flickering between Caleb's and Kellen's, its hand reaching for me. You forgot, it hissed. But I'll help you remember. My fingers brushed the key in my pocket, and I don't know why. But I threw it, hard, at the thing. It screamed, a sound that tore through my skull, and the air cracked like glass. The trapdoor flew open, rain pouring in, and I scrambled up the stairs, clutching the box, not looking back. I drove to the police station, soaked and shaking, and dumped everything on the desk. Notebook, drawing, papers, photo. The detective listened, skeptical, but promised to look into Kellen. I didn't tell him about the thing in the basement. How could I? Days later, he called. Kellen was real. James Kellen, Dad's old business partner, dead since 2005, buried in a cemetery an hour away. Mom had visited his grave every year, quietly, until her memory faded. The insurance fraud case was reopened, but the detective warned me. Your mom's not well enough to stand trial, and your dad's long gone. Not much justice left to find. The calls stopped. The phone never rang at 2:17 again. But I don't sleep much. I keep the box locked in a safe, the photo of Kellen face down. I visit Caleb's grave sometimes, leaving his favorite toy car by the headstone. I don't know if he was ever really calling me, or if Kellen's shadow used his voice to claw its way back. I don't know if Mom knew what Kellen was, or if she just buried the truth with him. But I remember now. The locked door, the smoke, Caleb's